Welcome to the deep dive. We're going way back in time today to explore Amish food preservation techniques.
Really fascinating stuff.
Yeah. Imagine like no refrigerators.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Just resourcefulness and tradition. And that's how the Amish live.
Mm-hmm.
And they figured out some incredible ways to keep their food fresh.
For a really long time, too.
Oh, yeah. For months, even years.
It's a really cool blend of like practicality and just ingenuity. You
Yeah.
know, you were talking about things like canning, ash storage, fat sealing fermentation.
Oh,
Yeah. Even using just herbs as preservatives.
Right.
It shows you like how deep their understanding of nature's cycles is and how important self-sufficiency is to them.
okay. Let's break this down. Let's start with canning. So our source, this YouTuber who's really into frugal living,
Okay.
they emphasize how simple water bath canning is.
Yeah.
It's like making these little time capsules of flavor.
I love that.
Right. You're sealing in like peak freshness of fruits and vegetables.
It's amazing how long canned goods can actually last. We're talking years, maybe even decades. If they're properly sealed, of course.
Yes.
It's so different from how we do things now, with refrigeration where food goes bad so fast.
Yeah, like days or weeks sometimes.
Exactly.
The YouTuber even called it time travel for food,
Aha, I love that.
right? You capture those like vibrant summer flavors to enjoy in the middle of winter.
Clever?
And unlike frozen food, which can get kind of mushy and lose its taste, after a while, canned goods stay good
For much longer.
way longer.
Huh.
It's amazing what simple science can do.
It is. The heat from the boiling water kills all the bacteria,
Oh, right.
and the airtight seal stops anything new from getting in.
So it's like suspended in time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Perfectly preserved.
Speaking of Summer's Bounty, the YouTuber had this hilarious story about their first time canning peaches.
Oh, no.
It was like a sticky explosion of sugary syrup everywhere,
Oh,
and the jars wouldn't seal.
Oh, man.
It just goes to show that even the simple stuff takes practice.
It definitely does. I think
Yeah.
that's what's so cool about the Amish. They've been doing this for generations, passing down all these little tips and tricks.
Yeah, they've got it down to a science.
Exactly. It makes our quick fix, instant gratification culture seem kind of shallow.
Yeah, we just grab whatever's prepackaged instead of preserving our own food.
It makes you wonder, though,
What's that?
if we tried some of these older techniques, could we rely less on like refrigerators and freezers?
And waste less food.
Exactly.
That's a good point. Hey, if you're just tuning in, make sure to like and subscribe to catch more deep dives like this one. Now let's talk about something a little different. Storing eggs and root vegetables in wood ash.
Wait, what?
I know, right? Sounds a little weird,
Yeah.
but apparently it works.
How?
Well, wood ash is very alkaline, which basically creates this environment that bacteria and mold can't stand.
Interesting.
And, the YouTuber was so excited to try this.
Yeah.
They practically buried their eggs in a mountain of ash.
Oh, no.
They learned the hard way that a light dusting is all you need.
Less is more.
Definitely.
Mhm.
The Amish really understand these nuances, though. Through years of experience, they've perfected these methods.
It's pretty amazing to think that something as simple as wood ash can be so useful.
I know, right? And it's not a new idea either. Like ancient Romans used ash to protect their grains.
No kidding.
Really? It makes you think what other simple solutions are out there.
Probably a lot.
Okay, ready for something really interesting? Fat sealing.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
So you submerge cooked meat in lard or tallow,
Okay.
and it creates this airtight seal that keeps it fresh.
Interesting.
And get this, it can last for months, even years.
Really?
Yeah, the YouTuber said the meat was super tender and flavorful,
Wow.
but their family wasn't too thrilled about eating meat that had been stored in fat for months.
Yeah, I can see that. It's funny how fat has gotten such a bad reputation.
Yeah,
But traditionally, it was used all the time for flavor and preservation.
makes sense.
You
And
know.
don't forget to hit that like button if you're enjoying this deep dive. Now let's move on to fermentation, which is super trendy these days.
It is.
But the Amish have been doing it forever, way before kombucha and kimchi were cool.
That's right. They're the OG fermenters.
They turned ordinary veggies into these tangy, probiotic-rich treats.
It's like magic transforming food with tiny little helpers.
And it's not just good for you, it tastes amazing too. The YouTuber's sauerkraut experiment sounded like quite the adventure.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently their kitchen smelled pretty funky for weeks,
Sauerkraut can definitely do that.
but the end result was worth it.
It usually is. Fermentation is all about balance, time, temperature, the right bacteria.
It's a delicate dance.
It is. But when you get it right, it's so rewarding.
Delicious and good for your gut.
What's not to love?
And it's not just an Amish thing. It's been around for thousands of years.
Yeah, all over the world, ancient cultures were fermenting all sorts of
It's
things.
a part of our shared history.
Exactly. And the Amish are keeping that tradition alive.
I love that.
It reminds us that food preservation isn't just about keeping food from going bad.
It's about culture and history, too.
It really is. It's a connection to our past
Yeah.
and a way to celebrate the ingenuity of people who came before us.
That's a great way to put it.
So true. Yeah, it really makes you think, huh. Okay, so let's move on to something that's like super simple. Drying. You know, the Amish have been using the sun and air to dry their food for a long time.
Yeah, drying's such a basic method,
Mhm.
but it works so well. It's all about removing the moisture that bacteria and mold need to grow.
It's low-tech and energy efficient.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it's been used for like forever to preserve all kinds of stuff. Fruits, veggies, meats, herbs, you name it.
The YouTuber visited this Amish family that had tons of dried food, like shelves and shelves of apples, pears, even jerky.
Wow.
I know, right? Imagine having all those yummy treats all year round.
It's pretty amazing how long dried food can last, too.
How long?
Years,
Yeah.
even decades if you store it right.
That's incredible. But even with drying, there can be some hiccups. The YouTuber was trying to dry apple slices in the sun,
Uh-huh.
and their neighbor's dog ate the whole batch.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's funny now, but I bet they weren't laughing then.
I can imagine. It's important to store dried food properly, too. The Amish keep theirs in airtight containers in cool, dry places to keep out moisture and bugs.
Exactly.
It's kind of cool to think that drying has been used by so many cultures throughout history.
It has travelers, explorers, even astronauts have relied on dried food.
It's a truly global technique.
It speaks to our shared human experience. We all need to preserve food and enjoy the flavors of different seasons.
So true. If you're digging this deep dive, be sure to like and subscribe to catch more episodes like this one. Okay, let's talk root cellars. They're like nature's refrigerator.
Yeah, they're amazing. These underground spaces that stay cool, dark, and a little damp.
The perfect environment for storing root vegetables and fruits.
No electricity needed.
The YouTuber described visiting a root cellar as like stepping into another world.
Really?
Yeah, it's filled with bins of potatoes, carrots, apples, all kinds of stuff.
A true abundance.
And root cellars don't just keep produce fresh, they actually help the flavors develop.
Oh, wow.
The YouTuber said the food tasted so much better
Well-
after being stored in a root cellar.
Makes sense. It's like a slow, natural aging process.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just about the food either. The YouTuber said that root cellars were like social spaces too.
Really?
Yeah, neighbors would hang out there, swap tips, share their extra produce.
I love that. It shows how food can bring people together.
It really does. Okay, let's move on to salting. It's been used for centuries to preserve all kinds of stuff.
Salt is such a simple ingredient, but it's incredibly powerful. It draws out moisture from food so bacteria can't grow.
It's been essential for humans throughout history, helping us survive long journeys, harsh winters, times of famine.
You can preserve food for a really long time with salt.
How long?
Decades.
Wow.
The YouTuber tried salting a ham for the first time.
How'd it go?
Apparently, it was a lot harder than they thought.
Uh-huh, I can imagine. But the end result was delicious.
I bet. It's all about patience and dedication with these traditional methods.
It reminds us that good things take time.
Yeah, and it's so worth it. And speaking of history, salt used to be so valuable it was used as currency.
Wow.
The Amish are keeping that history alive by using salt for preservation.
I love that connection to the past. Okay, let's talk pickling. Another ancient method that's still popular today.
Pickling uses vinegar to create an acidic environment that bacteria can't survive in.
It's super versatile. You can pickle all sorts of veggies, cucumbers, beets, onions, you name it.
The YouTuber had a lot of fun experimenting with pickling.
But it wasn't always easy.
Nope. They learned the hard way that the salt to vinegar ratio is super important.
Like a science experiment.
Kinda, but that's part of the fun of food preservation. There's always room for creativity.
Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're enjoying this deep dive. Okay, let's talk about smoking. It not only preserves food, but also adds a ton of flavor.
Yeah, smoking's amazing. It basically exposes food to smoke, which dehydrates it and creates a protective layer.
It's been used for centuries to preserve meats, fish, and even cheeses.
The YouTuber was really impressed by how long smoked meats can last.
How long?
Up to 2 years.
Wow, that's incredible.
I know, right? Imagine enjoying summer barbecue flavors in the middle of winter.
The Amish have really perfected the art of smoking.
They have. Their pantries are always stocked with delicious, well-preserved foods.
And it's not just meats. They smoke fish and cheese, too.
It adds so much depth of flavor.
Smoking is really an ancient technique.
It is. early civilizations figured out that smoke could help keep meat from spoiling.
It's another example of human ingenuity.
We're always figuring out ways to make our food last longer and taste better.
And the Amish are keeping that tradition alive.
Exactly. They're reminding us of the power of simple solutions.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's amazing how well these simple techniques work. The Amish really know how to harness the power of nature. And speaking of nature, who knew herbs could be such good preservatives?
Right.
The Amish use dried herbs like rosemary and thyme, not just for flavor, but to actually help keep the food from spoiling.
It's like nature's giving us everything we need.
Yeah.
These herbs that we usually just use for cooking, they've got these amazing powers.
I know, it's so cool. The YouTuber mentioned that thyme has been used for preservation for centuries. Like even the ancient Egyptians used it.
No way. What for?
Mummification.
Wow, that's incredible.
Right. Such a humble little herb with such a big history.
It really shows you how connected human knowledge is
Yeah.
and how powerful these old traditions can be.
And we can't forget all the funny moments the YouTuber shared. Like their cat stealing the oregano that was drying.
Oh, yeah.
And the smoked chicken wings that were way too spicy.
It makes food preservation seem a lot less intimidating.
It definitely does. It's like a
Terrible.
fun way to connect with our heritage. And if you've enjoyed this deep dive into Amish food preservation, be sure to like and subscribe for more. So as we wrap up, what stands out to you the most?
I think for me, it's the resourcefulness of the Amish. You know, they've created this whole sustainable system that reduces waste, brings out amazing flavors, and honors tradition.
And they do it all without relying on modern technology.
Exactly. It's a good reminder that there are other ways to live
Yeah,
and that simple solutions can be incredibly effective.
totally agree. It's inspiring to see how they've embraced a lifestyle that values simplicity, self-sufficiency, and community.
It makes you think, maybe we could learn a thing or two from them.
Definitely. And these techniques aren't just for the Amish, you know? Anyone can try them.
Yeah, even if you don't have a huge garden.
Exactly. Whether you're canning, fermenting, or just trying to be less wasteful, there are so many ways to apply these lessons.
It's about being more mindful of our food, appreciating where it comes from, and taking the time to preserve those delicious flavors.
Well said. Well, that concludes our deep dives into the fascinating world of Amish food preservation. We learned so much,
We did.
from surprising facts to funny stories to valuable insights into a way of life that's all about simplicity, sustainability, and community.
In a world that's so complicated, the Amish show us that there's another way to live, a way that's in harmony with nature and honors the traditions that keep us going.
I hope this deep dive has inspired you to think differently about food preservation, and maybe even try some of these techniques yourself.
I'll be awesome.
What method are you most curious about? Thanks for joining us on the deep dive, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more fascinating explorations of knowledge